Welcome back to my channel Rare Coins Shop. If you love discovering hidden treasures, you're in the right place. Today, we're revealing some coins that could be worth way more than you think. Stick around to find out. New here? Like, subscribe, and let's dive in. We're diving into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins from the mid-20th century, the 1967 U.S. Liberty 1 dime. While most people might not think twice about a coin that's just 10 cents, this particular dime is a hidden treasure that could be worth a lot more than you might expect. In fact, if you have a 1967 Liberty dime, you could be holding onto a piece of history that could fetch a staggering amount at auction. Stick around, and we'll reveal just how much this dime could actually be worth. First, let's take a look at the history and design of this coin. The Liberty dime, also known as the Winged Liberty Head dime, was first introduced in 1916 and was designed by famed sculptor Adolph A. Weinman. This coin quickly became an iconic representation of American liberty. The 1967 edition, part of a long-standing series, features the same beautiful and timeless design. On the obverse side of the coin, we see a portrait of Liberty, wearing a winged cap, which represents freedom of thought and movement. This image is framed by the words, Liberty and, In God We Trust, with the year, 1967, marking the coin's minting. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find an olive branch and a bundle of arrows, which are meant to symbolize peace and strength, respectively. The words, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum, are also included, along with the denomination, 1 dime. It's a simple yet powerful design that's been loved by collectors for generations. So, why is the 1967 Liberty dime so valuable? After all, it's a coin that was widely circulated, right? Well, the answer lies in a few key factors: rarity, condition, and some specific characteristics that can make a 1967 dime exceptionally rare and valuable. First, let's talk about condition. As with any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. Many of the 1967 dimes in circulation have endured years of handling and wear, meaning they're not in the best condition. But if you happen to have a 1967 Liberty dime that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. A coin that has sharp, clear details and hasn't been worn down by time is much rarer than one that's been tossed around in your pocket for years. The higher the grade of the coin, the more likely it is to fetch a substantial price. Now, let's talk about the rarity factor. The 1967 Liberty dime is not an especially rare coin in terms of its mintage. Millions of these dimes were produced. However, what makes certain 1967 dimes valuable are the unique characteristics or errors that may have occurred during the minting process. Some 1967 dimes are known to have errors, like double dies, where the image was struck more than once during production, creating a blurry or doubled effect on certain parts of the coin. These types of errors are highly sought after by collectors, as they are considered one-of-a-kind pieces and can significantly increase the coin's value. Another reason why some 1967 dimes can be worth so much has to do with the fact that coin collectors are often on the lookout for coins from specific years and in specific conditions. Even though 1967 was not a particularly low mintage year for dimes, finding one in exceptional condition, whether it be flawless or with an interesting minting error, can cause its value to skyrocket. Speaking of value, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. Just how much could a 1967 Liberty 1 dime be worth? Well, if you've got one that's in uncirculated condition and possibly has a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than 10 cents. In fact, some of these rare 1967 dimes have been known to fetch prices as high as $89,000. Yes, you heard that right, $89,000. That's an incredible amount of money for a coin that, at first glance, might seem like an everyday dime. But this is the beauty of coin collecting. A seemingly simple and common coin can have immense value if it has the right characteristics, the right condition, and the right rarity. So, if you have a 1967 Liberty dime in your collection, it's time to take a closer look. Inspect it for any signs of wear or damage, and check for any unusual features that might indicate a minting error. If you find one with a double die, a misalignment, or even a perfect uncirculated condition, it's worth getting it appraised by a professional. You never know, you might have just found a hidden treasure. Coin collecting is all about discovering hidden gems, and the 1967 Liberty dime is one of those pieces that might just surprise you with its worth. It's a great reminder that sometimes, the most valuable items are the ones that don't look like much at first glance. Second rare coin, we have an exciting story about one of the most intriguing and valuable dimes in American history, the 1894 U.S. Liberty I dime. This coin is not only a piece of history but also one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. If you're into rare coins or looking to learn more about what makes certain coins so valuable, you're in for a treat. Stick around because we're about to reveal how much this seemingly small dime could actually be worth today. The U.S. Liberty dime, also known as the Barber dime, was designed by renowned American engraver Charles E. Barber and first introduced in 1892. The design features a profile of Lady Liberty on the obverse side and a traditional heraldic eagle on the reverse. The 1894 edition, in particular, holds a special place in numismatic history due to its extraordinary rarity and the intriguing story behind its limited production. While many coins from the late 19th century were minted in large quantities, the 1894 Liberty dime is quite different. It was one of the most limited mintage years in the series. In 1894, only 24 of these dimes were struck at the U.S. Mint in San Francisco. That's right, only 24. How is that possible, you ask? Well, the story behind this coin is just as fascinating as its rarity. You see, the 1894 Liberty dime wasn't originally meant to be part of the regular coinage production. It was actually minted as part of a special request to make proof coins for some high-profile officials and collectors. There was a mix-up in the production process, and a small number of these dimes were struck for circulation, but they were never intended to be widely available. The fact that only 24 of them were ever produced makes this coin one of the most coveted pieces in the world of coin collecting. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1894 Liberty dime. The obverse features a striking profile of Lady Liberty, wearing a diadem and surrounded by the inscriptions, Liberty and, In God We Trust. This design embodies the ideals of freedom and justice that the United States holds dear. On the reverse side, you'll find a classic image of an eagle perched on an olive branch, with the words, United States of America, and, one dime emblazoned across the top and bottom. The design is simple, yet powerful, reflecting the national values of strength and unity, but what really sets the 1894 Liberty dime apart from other coins is its condition and the mystery behind its production. The fact that so few of these dimes were minted makes them exceptionally rare, and as you can imagine, rarity equals value in the world of coin collecting. What makes this coin even more valuable is the fact that it's incredibly difficult to find an 1894 Liberty dime in good condition. Given its age and limited number of surviving examples, many of the dimes that remain today have suffered from wear and damage over time. However, if you happen to own an 1894 Liberty dime in excellent or uncirculated condition, you're sitting on something extraordinary. Coins that are well preserved and free from significant wear are highly prized by collectors. Some of these coins have even been known to sell for astronomical prices at auctions. For example, in recent years, some of the surviving 1894 dimes have been sold for amounts that would make any coin collector's jaw drop, but just how much can an 1894 Liberty dime be worth? While the value can vary based on the condition of the coin, some of these rare dimes have been known to fetch incredible amounts. So, what's the big number we're all waiting to hear? If you have an 1894 Liberty dime in top-notch condition, it could be worth as much as $100,000, yes, you read that right, $100,000 for a single dime. This isn't just a small fortune for a coin. It's a staggering amount of money, and it's a testament to the incredible rarity and historical significance of this particular dime. A coin that was once considered just a small piece of currency is now worth more than many people's entire life savings. It's the kind of discovery that can change the course of a coin collector's life and open up new possibilities in the world of rare coins. So, how do you know if you have one of these hidden gems? It all comes down to inspecting your coin carefully. Look for coins that are in pristine condition, with sharp details and no signs of wear or damage. Pay attention to any scratches, dings, or discolorations, as they can affect the coin's value. If you suspect that your 1894 Liberty dime could be worth a significant amount, it's always a good idea to get it appraised by a professional numismatist. The 1894 Liberty dime is a prime example of how sometimes the most unassuming coins can turn out to be incredibly valuable. It's a piece of American history that's worth far more than just its face value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, always keep an eye out for coins like this. You never know when you might stumble upon a treasure that could change your life. Third expensive coin, we have an exciting story about a seemingly ordinary coin that could be worth a small fortune. We're talking about the 1980 US Liberty 1 dime, a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket or coin jar right now, waiting to be discovered as a hidden treasure. While most people would look at a 1980 dime and think it's just another everyday piece of currency, some collectors know that this particular coin can be worth far more than its face value. Let's dive into the fascinating details of this dime and why it could be worth a lot more than you think. The Liberty dime, also known as the Roosevelt dime, has been a staple in U.S. currency since 1946, when it was first issued to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. The design of the dime has remained relatively unchanged since its introduction, and the 1980 edition features the classic image of President Roosevelt on the obverse, surrounded by the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year, 1980. On the reverse side, you'll find the familiar image of a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, which symbolize liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. While the design itself is timeless, the value of the 1980 Liberty dime goes far beyond its aesthetics. It's all about rarity, condition, and the unique factors that can make a coin stand out. Most of the 1980 dimes were minted in large quantities and circulated widely, so you might think they're not particularly special. However, what collectors are really looking for in this coin is its condition and any potential unique features that could make it more valuable. As with any collectible, condition is key. Most coins that were circulated in 1980 have seen a lot of wear and tear over the years. Coins that have been handled frequently, scratched, or worn down lose much of their value. But if you happen to have a 1980 dime that's been carefully preserved or kept in uncirculated condition, you could be in for a big surprise. Coins that are in excellent condition, with no visible scratches or signs of wear, are far rarer than those that have been passed around for decades. The better the condition, the more it's worth. What makes the 1980 Liberty dime particularly interesting, though, is the fact that certain variants and minting errors can dramatically increase its value. Coin errors, such as double strikes, off-center coins, or missing mint marks, are highly prized by collectors because they are rare, unique, and hard to find. The 1980 dime is no exception. If you happen to find a dime from this year with an error, you could be sitting on a coin that could fetch far more than its face value. A small mistake during the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into a highly coveted collectible. For example, an off-center strike or a die crack can make your 1980 dime incredibly valuable to the right buyer. Minting errors like these are considered rare and can fetch premium prices in the market. This is why collectors spend so much time searching for these types of coins. They know that a single mint error can take an otherwise common coin and turn it into a rare treasure. So, if you have a 1980 dime with any noticeable irregularities, it's definitely worth getting it appraised. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part. How much could your 1980 Liberty dime actually be worth? While most 1980 dimes are worth only a few cents, it's the rare ones, those in uncirculated condition or with minting errors, that can command much higher prices. The price of a well-preserved 1980 dime could be anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds of dollars, depending on its condition and any unique features it may have. But here's the big surprise: some of these rare, error-free, or exceptionally well-preserved 1980 dimes have been known to sell for as much as $60,000. Yes, you heard that right, $60,000. That's an incredible price for a coin that most people would never expect to be worth much. So, if you happen to come across an uncirculated or error version of the 1980 Liberty dime, you could be holding onto something far more valuable than you initially thought. If you're wondering how to check your 1980 dimes for value, the best place to start is by carefully inspecting the coin for any signs of wear, damage, or unusual features. If the coin is in near-perfect condition, with sharp details and no visible signs of circulation, it could be worth a lot more than you think. Additionally, check for any minting errors, anything out of the ordinary, like double strikes, misalignments, or missing mint marks. If you find any of these, it could make the coin even more valuable to collectors. Whether you're an experienced coin collector or just starting out, the 1980 Liberty dime is a perfect example of how even seemingly ordinary coins can become extraordinary treasures. It's a reminder that with a little knowledge and a keen eye, you can turn a simple dime into a valuable piece of history. And who knows, maybe you have a rare and valuable 1980 dime just waiting to be discovered. Last unique coin, we're exploring a coin that's sure to spark excitement for collectors and treasure hunters alike, the 1965 US Liberty 1 dime. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another dime, but trust me when I say this particular coin could be hiding a significant value that might just surprise you. The 1965 Liberty dime is part of the famous Roosevelt dime series, which has been a staple of U.S. currency for decades. However, this particular year holds a special place in numismatic history, and it could very well be worth much more than its face value. So, if you've ever wondered about the worth of your old coins or you have a stash of dimes from the 60s, this video is for you. First, let's dive into a bit of history. The U.S. Liberty dime, also known as the Roosevelt dime, was first introduced in 1946, just after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was designed by engraver John R. Sinek and quickly became a beloved part of U.S. coinage, symbolizing the values of liberty and freedom. The 1965 Roosevelt dime, in particular, was minted during a time of economic uncertainty. The U.S. was experiencing a significant shift in its coinage. 1965 marked the year when the government decided to eliminate silver from dimes, quarters, and half dollars, replacing it with a copper-nickel blend. This shift in materials was due to rising silver prices, and the decision to move away from using precious metals in everyday coins had a profound impact on the future of U.S. currency. Although the 1965 dime was technically a transition year in terms of coin composition, it still carries an interesting value in the world of coin collecting, and here's why. The 1965 Liberty dime is often sought after because it's part of the last group of dimes to be made with silver. While the majority of 1965 dimes were minted in copper-nickel, a small number of these coins were inadvertently struck with a composition of 90% silver, just like earlier dimes. These silver dimes, also known as the silver error coins, are incredibly rare and extremely valuable. So, what makes the 1965 Liberty dime so special for collectors? The key to its value lies in the rarity of the silver error coins. Although the 1965 dime was meant to be made with copper-nickel, a handful of dimes from this year were mistakenly struck using silver. These silver error coins are few and far between, and finding one is a major victory for collectors. The silver dimes from 1965 are not only valuable for their precious metal content, but they also carry a certain historical significance as the last dimes to be made with silver. Now, let's talk about the design. The 1965 Liberty dime features the iconic image of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse side, facing left with the word Liberty inscribed above and, In God We Trust, beneath. The reverse side of the coin shows a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength, values that continue to define the United States. While the design may be familiar to many, the rarity of the 1965 silver dimes sets them apart from the rest of the series. But how do you tell if your 1965 Liberty dime is one of these valuable silver error coins? The easiest way is to check the weight of the coin. A standard copper-nickel 1965 dime weighs about 2.27 grams, whereas the silver version weighs 2.50 grams. If you have a 1965 dime and it weighs closer to 2.50 grams, there's a good chance you have one of the silver era coins on your hands. Another way to verify its authenticity is by getting the coin professionally graded. Numismatic experts can evaluate the coin's composition and condition to determine its value. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. Just how much is a 1965 Liberty dime worth? While most 1965 dimes in circulation are worth only a few cents, the silver era coins can fetch impressive prices at auctions. Depending on the condition and rarity of the coin, a silver 1965 Liberty dime can be worth as much as $77,000. Yes, you read that right, $77,000. That's an incredible price for a coin that was once a simple 10-cent piece of currency. A coin like this can be a life-changing find for the lucky collector who discovers it, and it's a perfect example of how coin collecting can be an exciting adventure filled with potential rewards. The rarity of the silver era dimes and their historical significance make them highly desirable in the world of numismatics. So, if you've got any 1965 Liberty dimes in your collection, now's the time to take a closer look. Check the weight and see if you might have one of these rare silver coins hiding in your stash. If you think you've found a silver era dime, don't hesitate to have it appraised by a professional to confirm its authenticity and value. You could be holding onto a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to learn about the world of rare coins, the 1965 Liberty dime is a perfect example of how a seemingly small and common coin can have an extraordinary value. It's a reminder that hidden treasures are often closer than we think, and sometimes, a little knowledge can turn an ordinary coin into a valuable collectible. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1965 Liberty dime, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future discoveries. You never know, you might just have a rare, $77,000 dime sitting in your collection. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.